Hey there, and welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting, and welcome to our 3 count. I'm DJ Impact. We got Sin City Steve here in Simon Street. We don't have Matt Michaels tonight. He is on assignment with FSW. If you ever listen to the DeFalco Files, you'll kind of know what's going on. And, he's at an event. First off, shout out to everyone who's watching us live right now. Just hang out with us this evening. Make sure you throw all your comments into the chat box, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitch Live. We'd love to hear whatever comments that you have. So again, this is 3 count where we got 3 good topics all planned out for you. And let's get right to it. It's time. Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting present 1, 2, 3. Count Talk.
Count Talk, baby.
All right, so here's our first one, which is Vince McMahon booked Royal Rumbles better than Triple H. Twitter reacts as the first WWE Premium Live event of 2023, and this was from sportskeeda.com. So let me just read a little bit of that article. It said that, what do you think of the first WWE Premium Live event from 2023? Was it good or bad? Was it the greatest of all time or at the other end of the spectrum? Whether you loved it or hated it, the fact of the matter is that it features several great storyline progressions and returns, setting the pace for WrestleMania 39. The Royal Rumble matches vastly improved from the previous year's lackluster booking for sure, but there are some distractors for this year's extravaganza as well. Twitter exploded with reactions after the event, with one remark standing out from the West. This person said, Vince McMahon booked Royal Rumbles better than Triple H. Wow. But a few other tweets came through. Another guy says, wasn't the worst, but was pretty uneventful. Where were you, homie? We were live at the watch party. Another person said, showcasing the main roster instead of pointless ones off was the correct decision. Someone also said they didn't need surprises. They did waste some spots, yes, but this Rumble furthered storylines, built Gunther as the main badass on the roster, and had so much star power in the ring at once. It was fun watch. And another one said the show was bad, but it wasn't really just a Triple H Rumble, was it? Vince McMahon was taken back over, and we don't know what he overruled and decided. But we all know Vince and Kennedy McMahon made plenty of creative decisions. All right, the story just continues. It says that a decent show requires the bare minimum of great openings and closing bouts, and in the case of Saturday night's big events, it arguably had both. So the show kicked off with the Men's Royal Rumble for a change, with the returning Cody Rhodes picking up as a well-deserved victory. Despite this, the WWE Universe has been raving about the runner-up, Gunther. The ring general broke Rey Mysterio's record for the longest time spent in a single Royal Rumble. And the main event saw the undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns defeat Kevin Owens once and for all to retain both titles. But what happened after the contest is what fans will talk about for years to come. All right, let's move right over to you, Sin City Steve. Vince McMahon booked Royal Rumbles better than Triple H. I'm confused. Or were we watching something different, or?
I think that I was watching a different show than these people. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the absolute greatest night of professional wrestling that WWE has ever put out. But honestly, it's a step up from Royal Rumbles in the last several years, man. Yes, the musical performance was dog shit, wasn't needed, but whatever. The women's title match realistically had no business being there either. But the fact is, the right people won. The right people won the matches. You had Cody Rhodes win the men's rumble. You had Rhea Ripley win the women's rumble. Those should have been your winners. You had storyline progressions all over the place. You built up WrestleMania in Hollywood. Okay. So you're going to have Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. That's going to be on the docket. You're going to have Logan Paul and Seth Rollins.
Yep.
Obviously, you're going to have the title matches that were set up as a result. I mean, there was a lot of shit that was either built or furthered as a result of this pay-per-view.
Right.
Premium live event. But yeah, dude, I think that, hate watching is unfortunately such a thing. And people.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that, I was just going to say, do you think these are true fans of WWE who watch it? Or do you think these are like people who converted over to like, I'm AEW only, or or whatever. I'm still trapped.
Both sides are guilty of that shit. I mean,
Okay.
there are people that hate watch AEW that are diehard WWE fans, and they'll do nothing but pick apart the product. I mean, not that we know of anybody that does that or anything, but elsewhere,
he's on assignment.
Realistically, it happens on both sides, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you like the show, like the show. If you don't like the show, don't watch the show. That's realistically the only way that is really going to make any difference to these companies is
Right.
If you want to see a change. Yes, obviously you can be vocal about it, but they're going to tout their viewership numbers. They're going to tout their gate numbers. And that's just the harsh reality of things now. So it is what it is. This show was fucking solid. There were a couple of minor missteps, but these people are acting like it's the end of the fucking world, and it's nowhere near it.
Yeah, I mean, you're right with that. And going back, and this is for you, Simon Street, just kind of looking at the guys, the person who wrote Vince McMahon book Royal Rumble is better than Triple H, and I guess this was on Twitter. One of the pictures that says worst Rumble ever, and it has 6 different pictures there. Below it says no surprises, no twists. It was the worst Royal Rumble. Everybody likes to play Booker, and I don't know what they would have done. So would Cody Rhodes he was going to come back to what, lose? I'm just like, what was the expectation for that? Who was you expecting to win the women's Royal Rumble, to go either against Charlotte or Bianca? Like, who in that ring that you saw that we need to take to that level? He was going to put Becky back in there. Been there, done that. I mean, what would you have changed? What was you really expecting the Tribal Chief to lose against KO? Again, what happened after the show? What happened after that match was more of the storytelling than the actual match itself. So it's confusing. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ramble. Going back to you though, Simon Street, what do you think could be the reason why someone would think that this was a very bad or worst Rumble ever?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of it too is probably not having as many of the I'm trying to find the perfect phrase for it. Crackerjack Royal Rumble entries. That's one thing that sticks out in my mind. And I know a lot of people that look forward to Royal Rumble just to see somebody pop through. And I know we had talked about on our wrestling talk, some of the entries that came through were notably tangible people who are full-timers, who are part of the roster on both male and female. Yeah, you had a couple of people here and there, but for the most part, almost damn near 98% of both entrants, right? We're all part of the main roster. And so that might be one thing that deters some people. So if you go in and you really want to see, oh my gosh, who are they going to pull out of the closet for the men? Who are they? Oh my gosh, they have Sergeant Slaughter, and that's okay because that is exciting, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The one thing I think we're starting to see more with what's being done with WWE is congruent consistency. Things that are cohesive. You're taking opportunities upon pay-per-views and adding breadcrumbs and then following up on those breadcrumbs with storylines. Taking opportunities when they present themselves, right? So I can see why a lot of people don't like that. And that's okay because, and I'll make an example real quick. hypothetical, right? Hypothetically say, okay, Impact, you love Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling is great in my mind because they don't take themselves seriously. They'll come up with any freaking thing, but it works for them, right? And that seems to be more what you like. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I see there's a lot of wrestling fans that have this tribalism. I'll call it tribalism. They want to pick a side, and that's their banner, and they're waving their flag and everything. Do you see what I'm saying? So someone that may be like a U Impact that likes the suspended reality and doesn't mind your intelligence being assaulted a little bit. You see what I'm saying? But you like it. Keyword, you like it. Sin City Steve likes more of the element, and correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen, if I mischaracterized your wrestling fandom. Sin City likes more of a little bit of traditional, wrestling, right? Has a respect for, tag teams, has a respect for the different divisions and whatnot, and really likes a lot of that, almost like an elevated indie feel, right? Let's take it seriously. And there's some people at AEW put their flag up, and that's all they freaking want. The problem is where our society, particularly what we're talking about, wrestling fans have gotten. People are putting their opinions, and that's fine, especially in this great, 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 great country of the USA. But it's funny because you actually bring the sport that is elevating, you don't even realize it. People are starting to take wrestling seriously as an avenue of entertainment, as a means of more versatility, of getting newcomers to come in. We didn't even really talk about it. I'll just point it out there real quick. Roman Reigns going on Jimmy Fallon. That whole segment, he used storylines in a late night show. Do you see my point? And everybody was cool that consumed it, whether you watched wrestling or you didn't. So what I will say, answering your question, I think that's some of those things of why people get on there. It's more to do with they want to sit there and say AEW is the best or WWE is the best or I like this or I like that. But let's look at the whole, man. Wrestling has come a long ass way, even to the point to where regular sports look at what we consume as competition. It used to be the other way around, where we were getting shifted and pivoted and moved anytime some playoffs were coming. Now it's almost getting to the point in maybe the next 5 years, we might not always get that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Hopefully I kind of answered the best way I possibly could.
Well, it's always everyone, of course, has their opinion, and not everyone needs to say that, hey, it was the best show, the greatest show they ever seen. I get that. But I also confused when you want to throw out there that Vince McMahon, first off, Vince McMahon has been doing this for a very long time. And just because somebody do something for a very long time, that also doesn't mean that they're still as great as doing what they were doing 30, 40 years ago. You can lose that touch. And I think many of us kind of believe that's where Vince was at in many parts of his booking at WWE as where he's at in his stage in life right now. So, I mean, and it's interesting. We praise Triple H for what we've seen, what he's done in NXT. We've praised from what we've seen him do with his small, being in charge with Raw and SmackDown, to the creative side of this, and we've been enjoying that as well. He now had his first big live premium event, and I can't look at that and go, wow, he actually did a horrible job, because it was quite entertaining throughout the show. Yes, you like you say, you can look at different missteps of the show, but it happens. Those missteps wasn't enough to make you go, God, that was a waste of my 4 or 5 hours. I wish I can get back. Not gonna happen. All right. Sorry about that, man. I'm supposed to be hosting, not giving my own.
No, dude, don't apologize for that shit.
We're down one man. It works.
That's true.
Yeah, man. Don't even trip about that. Give your opinions, man.
Yeah, man, no doubt. All right, let's go into number 2. Bayley doesn't want fans thinking women's wrestling is moving backwards after cage match was cut. And this was from Fightful.com. All right, so this is how this reads. Bayley addresses her cage match being cut at WWE Raw 30th edition. And 30th year, and Bayley was scheduled to face Becky Lynch inside a steel cage. But the match never happened as Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky attacked Lynch and laid her out before the bout started. Now, according to Fightful Select, the trial of Sami Zayn's segment went long, leading to matches and segments needed to be trimmed. The cage match was affected the most, and instead of doing a short match, WWE decided to do the attack angle instead. Now, speaking to Ariel Hawani of BT Sports, Bayley was asked about what went down on Raw. Quote, I felt good. I honestly think it put our story in a whole different place. I think it did a lot for Damage Control. So I'm super happy with it. End quote. Now, when asked if she was bombed about it, Bayley replied, quote, nope, not at all, end quote. Asked if she saw the fans were disappointed that the match was cut, Bayley said, well, I did, which was cool. They have our backs and stuff, but I don't want them to think that women's wrestling is moving backwards or that we're not seeing the same light as Roman Reigns or anybody like that. We're very appreciated backstage. We're treated super well, and we're a part of a big conversation when it comes to big stories, big matches, big premium live events. We're in the conversations with that. So I don't want fans to get the wrong idea with what happened. It was just what happened. We're going to make the best of it, and they're going to see how it made everything so much bigger and better, end quote. So, of course, after WWE Raw 30, the Bella twins, Nikki and Brie Bella, weren't happy with how the women were presented and honored, speaking on the lack of homage that paid to women throughout the show. And you can find their full comments later on here. So that's the end of that right there. Let me jump back over here. All right, guys. Bayley, she is doesn't want fans to think women in wrestling is moving backwards after the cage match. It's interesting that she has to say that, because just like we just had on our previous story, of course, somebody ready to start taking off and saying, oh my God, look what they're doing to women's wrestling just because they have time restraints to things that come up. Let me move over to you, Simon Street, because you, I know, are a fan of women wrestling, and I'm sure you may have something to say about this. You maybe even watch Raw 30th. What was your take on what she's saying about this?
Well, first and foremost, if you kind of listen to it a little bit, the fact that they had to have time constraints, but still let there be, let's call it an audible storyline, right? That gives credence to the fact of importance of women's wrestling in WWE. If you've been watching this product for a very, very long time, sometimes you wouldn't even get that. You wouldn't even get the announcer saying, well, we were regularly scheduled going to have a cage match between Bayley and Becky Lynch, but we're not going to have that. No, they wouldn't have done that. It would have been literally, we'd have been sitting there figuring out our cable package. Did something get skipped or something? Yeah. So first and foremost, yes, women's wrestling has definitely moved forward to really consider what do we want to chop and how do we want to do it. And even before the whole Vince McMahon stink, you start seeing that a little bit because money talks, and women's wrestling is a money maker now, and it will be a money maker in the foreseeable future. Another thing that I want to say about this article was interesting because a lot of people are talking about the Bella twins, and I'm going to be a little bit firm on this. I appreciate every single woman in the past that has laced up some boots, and whether they were in mud wrestling matches, panties and bras, if they were divas or if they were women's wrestlers, whatever the case may be. But everybody, because you have women's wrestling evolving just like the men, but a little bit more evident because they came from almost obscurity, you're going to see people like the Bella twins. And I'm not being mean like AJ Lee did back in the day saying what was sexually transmitted talent. But I am going to say in the sense of that their time has passed. They don't have no work for you because the landscape has changed. And it's no disrespect. That's not saying that Nikki and Brie can't wrestle. They just can't wrestle at the level they're needed. I've been highly critical with Carmella. I had a great conversation with somebody that kind of was asking me my take on some of these wrestlers. I said, well, it's really hard for me to see a Carmella go up against a Bianca Belair. She's kicking like she's trying to kick a house spider. No disrespect to her. You've evolved. You have the product has evolved for women's wrestling. So I think in the sense of, I'm not sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sin City Steve, you're better with this. Becky Lynch, was she already announced as an entrant for the Women's Royal Rumble? Or was she a surprise entrant? Okay,
Yep.
she was already announced. I think what some people may be pissed about is some of the timing. So you have from Monday to Saturday. Ordinarily, this has been done in the past, but it's usually some weeks between the Rumble to where there was something scheduled planned. They get jumped by a faction. They're out, right? And then they show up at the Rumble. So I think that's what people kind of get pissed off, because when we watch Raw, yeah, Becky had to defend herself, but she didn't get her ass laid out by Damage Control. Do you see what I'm saying? So a little bit of that was kind of like, I can see why some people were upset at that. But to finish this up, for me, I will say definitely that the fact that WWE creative or actually went with the storyline and it paid credence to the Rumble. If you remember the Rumble, they're obviously not done. Becky and Bayley aren't done, obviously. Do you see what I'm saying? Leave it at that.
Gotcha. All right. Sin City, I mean, it clearly was stated, and I thought she did a very good job with stating, saying, look, we're appreciated backstage. We're treated super well. We are a part of the big conversation when it comes to big stories, big matches, and big premium live events. We're in that conversations with that. And she clearly wanted to make sure that fans don't get the wrong idea. What was your take when you were hearing that she had to clarify to fans to not think that they're about to somehow dumb down or they're not treating women wrestlers as well, I guess, as their men talent is on the show?
It's one of those things. So obviously when we recapped Raw 30, I actually mentioned the fact that it was kind of a bait and switch move with WWE promising this cage match between two rivals that hadn't really had any kind of major feuds. They got a lot of people excited for this match only for it to not happen. The thing that so many people get carried away with is if there's any little slight inconvenience in their life, suddenly it's it's a major catastrophe.
Right.
And the fact is that if they would have gone ahead with the match, hypothetically, if they would have just gone ahead with the match, what result would people have been happier with? The fact that the cage match would have only lasted about 2 to 3 minutes, because that's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Or instead, they can build an angle and actually keep the feud going. Now, who knows? Maybe you do something at WrestleMania with these two women. Now you don't have to struggle to find a dance partner for Bayley or for Becky Lynch. Now you put that match, if you want to do a cage match, great. Do some sort of a major blow off type of a match on WrestleMania. Make it on a big stage. This type of shit happens. It is live TV. And at the end of the day, I think that it's huge that somebody that was directly involved came out and said, hey, no, you guys are looking at this completely in the wrong light. Because it is easy to take a look at everything that's going on with WWE, with Vince McMahon muscling his way back into the fold into the behind the scenes with everything that he's doing.
Yeah.
They can say that Triple H is still running creative. But at the end of the day, Vince McMahon being the majority stakeholder, he's going to have at least some shred of a say in creative. Mm-hmm. So I can see how some people may, jump to the conclusion that women's wrestling is regressing or whatever the case might be. But no, that's ridiculous. Okay. I can see some people getting that type of a viewpoint, but right here you have it directly from somebody involved with the specific match and angle that said that is not what's happening, and just sit down, shut the fuck up, stay tuned, and just enjoy the product.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Very well said. All right. Let's move over into our third count. 3. And this one is Triple H comments after NBA player gets fined for DX chop celebration. And this is from eWrestlingNews.com. So this is how it reads. WWE superstars have a tremendous influence across the globe due to celebrity status. They enjoy courtesy of their accomplishments and fan following. While the mainstream media has helped establish certain superstars as pop culture icons, some legends are more than enough to make headlines in their own. Sports Illustrated reports that Philadelphia 76ers player Joel Embiid has been fined by the NBA for doing the DX crotch shot this past Wednesday. He did the iconic gesture in the third quarter of his team's 137-133 win over the Brooklyn Nets. The NBA announced a fine of $25,000 for, quote, making an obscene gesture on the playing court. Now, while Embiid was fined, he didn't actually receive a technical foul during the game. The taunt happened after he had gotten a foul during a layup and scored the extra point after. The decorated basketball athlete Kevin Durant called the move trash, and while Embiid's wallet is now lighter, he seems to have gained a noteworthy and influential admirer in Paul Triple H Levesque, the head of WWE Creative, encouraged the power forward, suggesting he should do the DX crotch chop more often. Triple H had wrote, curious at Joel Embiid, if you wrote a bigger check now, could you get a volume discount to cover the rest of the season? And then you could keep okay, and that's pretty much that right.
You're
there.
not gonna read the hashtags?
Read the hashtags, man. The hashtags is cool.
Hashtag is that ill chipping?
I'll chip in.
I'll chip in. Oh, I'll chip in. Okay, and then hashtag suck it. That's pretty hilarious, man. Okay, you know, and it's and it's funny how they started off this article saying that about the influence that the WWE superstars have across the globe with different celebrities. Because if you watch the game, and again, we record this on Sunday, but if you watch the game with the Chiefs, right after that, one of the guys got on the mic. I forget his name, but he had made the comment during the while they were accepting their championship for the AFC. He had did a shout out over to the guys over at Philly, and pretty much used a rock, one of the Rock's words that he would say. I'm trying to remember what he said, man, but I just remember listening to it going, oh shit, you know, he literally just quoted one of the Rock sayings. But yeah, I mean, we see it all the time, and it happens. But this was your story, Simon Street.
Mm-hmm.
And what was your take seeing that this guy Joel is about to get fined $25,000, man, for doing that?
Well, let's be real here. $25,000 ain't shit to him. It's like y'all.
I don't want to lose 25 grand just for saying.
You don't want to lose 25 grand, but let's be real. If y'all find my ass for every time I said fuck on the Vegas Bad Boys of podcasting and charged me, let's just say $10, that would be almost the equivalent. That ain't gonna be hard to cover it. You get what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, it sting a little, but it's like a bee sting. to a big ass giant. It ain't that big, first and foremost. Secondly, this shit is hilarious to me. Shout out to Paul Levesque for doing this shit. This is some goat ass shit. That's all I gotta say. This is some goat ass shit. You see somebody basically, doing the nod to you. And Embiid, if you don't know, Mr. Impact, because I know you watch the NBA, he's not on Golden State, so he is a big thing. He is for all accountable reasons the top NBA star right now, and probably for the foreseeable future. So when you kind of have it, and I watched back the video of the play because I didn't watch that particular game. He did this, and then I like it because we enjoy WWE so much. And for most of us, that's in our mid-30s or our 30s to 40s and 50s, right? How much of y'all at your job done something, whether it's a catchphrase, a hand gesture, or something that's based to WWE? The shit is culture. You see what I'm saying? And it's in sports. That double check shit, come on. Getting WWE belts, come on. How many of us wanted the Jaguars to possibly maybe win so they could get a WWE belt? Culture. You get what I'm saying? This shit's everywhere. To the point to where if I say I've got 2 words for you and I just went into a Best Buy, I guarantee I'm going to have at least half of the damn Best Buy. At least for the ones I go to. One on Lake Meat, shout out to you. I'm going to hear a couple of them say, suck it, guaranteed. How many times have y'all guys have gone somewhere and had a shirt on, like I walk around with acknowledge me, and I have people look at and be like, what's up? Or how many times you had your Bullet Club shirt on and somebody hit you with the too sweet? That's why I wanted to show it, because, we know this shit, but now it's becoming evident to where pretty soon, man, WWE culture is going to be the standard for any cool ass catchphrase or persona that you need for the day. When your boss is getting nasty with your ass and you just get done getting grilled and shit, and you close the door, you turn around the door, you suck it. Makes you feel good, and you can finish the rest of your shift, right? I'm just saying.
Sin City, though, I mean, listen, he might have a point that we've maybe all said it or done some of these gestures, but let's be real. Some of those could be an HR issue. Could be. What's your take though when you saw that this had happened and Triple H responded? Was this a shaking your head type moment in terms of why the hell did he do this, or maybe a shaking your head moment going, boy, this is ridiculous but funny as hell?
I just thought that it was funny as hell. I didn't think it was necessarily ridiculous at all.
Yeah.
But the fact is, like, this was genius for Triple H to do, because obviously it gets people talking. You just look at the engagement that this tweet alone got, and it's absolutely solid. Not to mention the main tweet initially from Sports Illustrated, So if nothing else, it's just putting over the business, and that's going to be, I don't have a single bit of a problem. And the funny thing is, he's been doing, I've seen clips of this dude doing like the suck it taunts for quite a while now. So, I mean, this is not the first time. Right. This might be the first time that he's being fined for it. But I mean, there are plenty of gifs out there and plenty of video clips on the internet of Joel Embiid, telling people to suck it. And it's awesome to see that this kind of stuff is back in the pop culture lexicon. It's just there are certain things that are timeless and that will always be around. And well, whether you like it or not, telling people to suck it is evidently one of those things. And getting fined $25,000.
Right. Well, my thing is, if he's been doing this for some time, had he been talked to about it? Did they add a new rule in the guidelines to not do that? Like, why all of a sudden you're gonna get hit with this fine when this is something that's been happening before? If anything, at least give me a warning. You know?
You know why he
Exactly.
really did it, though? You know why he really did it? Because Kevin Durant's a little bitch. And he knew it would piss him off. Yeah, I
There you
said
go.
it. I said it.
All right, y'all. Well, that is our 3 count. Thank you for hanging out with us with this this podcast, and it's been exciting. Just at least for me, getting back into the swing of things. Went through holiday, had all types of work engagement and birthdays, and just haven't been around. But I'm back, guys, and I'm excited. A lot of wrestling to get to. A lot of things going to be happening. We got if you're Vegas based, we got Impact coming into town in February. We got WWE coming into town late March. I mean, a week before the big pay-per-view, so that could be very exciting. I know it's not announced, but I would assume AEW is going to be back here in May, right? So we got that. So, man, this is just a good time to be a fan. Definitely a great time if you live in the Vegas area. And we got a lot of things we're going to be talking about. So definitely keep it locked with us like you always do. And we definitely appreciate you. All right, final thoughts. I'm going to go over to you, Simon Street. What you want to tell the good folks out there?
Well, everybody, hey, man, hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you so much for supporting. And, always, it's all good for what we do here. We have fun. We like to poke jazz at each other and other people in the sphere of the world. But, hey, we just having fun. It's entertainment. We don't take the shit seriously like that. You know what I mean? So if you're all about that hate and shit, and that's really the hill you want to die on, do that shit in isolation in your island of your own relevancy, because the rest of us, we trying to collab, level up, and make the money.
Amen.
No doubt, man. Sensitive Steve.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all the stuff that you guys do. We genuinely appreciate each and every one of you. Very special thank you and shout out to all the brave men and women serving this country, whether you're doing it on lands foreign or domestic. Thank you for doing what you do so that we can do what we love to do. And last but not least, repsports.com, reppsports.com. Go there for all your pre-workout, weight loss, and general energy needs. Again, that's repsports.com. Use promo code Vegas at checkout and save yourself 15%.
All right, good stuff. All right, with that, thank you, everybody. Hopefully next week should have Matt Michaels back with us. Make sure you check the DeFalco files out. You always will know what's going on with FSW, and that's always a good look when you can do that. All right. Until then, we'll see you next week, next time. Take care. Peace.